Okay, boom, boom, boom. Let's do this.
Reach one, click the button, got it. Oppression by corporations is more of a concern than oppression by governments. Reach one, click the button, got it. Oppression by corporations is more of a concern than oppression by governments. See.
Me again. Doing another Nick Fuentes is an idiot video. He's taking the 8 values political compass test. I saw him take the political compass test. I didn't react to that one. But this one, I'm not going to miss out on, so let's see how stupid this one can get. Let's see if it's as stupid and painful as my reaction to the... No. Let's see if this is as stupid and painful to watch as John Doyle taking the political compass test. And by the way, oppression by corporations is more of a concern than oppression by governments. I mean, both are likely.
This is kind of a loaded question.
Well, both are likely in the sense that, either can happen. I'm not sure which one is more likely to happen, but, they can both happen.
I've never said that it's maybe more of a concern, but just that it is a concern among the same concern as the government.
I do agree that it's a loaded question.
I mean, the corporations have the money that facilitates the government. So I guess for that reason, well, think about it this way. Does McDonald's oppress you in the same way that the government does? The government can tell you what to do and then they kill you, So, and I'm much more concerned about the Democratic Party controlling the state. Then again, though, I mean, it is like a fusion between corporations and the government. It's the media, it's finance, it's the lobbies, the interests. So in that way, if you think the government is a threat, well, the government's a
I actually don't disagree with what he's saying here. I mean, even, the Democratic Party is bullshit. Like, America, the Overton window has turned so far right in your country. So, I don't really disagree with anything that he's saying right now. I assume this will get a lot more contentious the further he goes on.
threat largely because the corporations are funding the government. So I would say agree. I would actually say agree.
I would too.
It's necessary for the government to intervene in the economy to protect consumers. Yeah, big agree.
I agree too.
The freer the markets, the freer the people. Disagree.
I also
It's
disagree.
better to maintain a balanced budget than to ensure welfare for all citizens. Well, I mean, to what extent are you talking about welfare? Because a balanced budget is important, but I guess it's not as important. So I would say disagree. Publicly funded research is more beneficial to the people than leaving it to the market. It actually can be. If you're looking at, like, NASA, or if you're looking at the Air Force, like the Air Force and the military, well, I don't know if it was the Air Force, but the military kind of created Silicon Valley. The military created the internet, effectively, back in the 40s and 50s. They laid the groundwork for a lot of that, and for rockets and missiles and technology. So I would say that it depends. It depends. The free market is delivering.
I don't
a lot of this
disagree
stuff.
with
The
what he's saying
government-
right now.
Everybody says like, oh, the government has never created anything. No, the government's created some good stuff before too. The free market's created maybe more. So I would say disagree. Slightly disagree. Tariffs
Cool.
on international trade are important to encourage local production. Yeah, big agree.
I
From
don't
each
think I agree
according
with
to his
that.
ability, to each according to his needs. No.
Oh,
Be
come on,
fast,
Nicholas,
work
haven't you
program.
ever read the... Come on, Nicholas, haven't you ever read the Communist Manifesto?
Were abolished in favor of private charity. I don't know. I mean, you'd like to count on private charity, but in this 21st century, like late stage development economy,
Oh, he didn't say late stage
keep
capitalism.
the social programs. So I would say disagree. Taxes should be increased on the rich to provide for the poor.
Cool. Cool, except I would say strongly disagree. He isn't saying too much that I disagree with yet.
Poor. Not to provide for the poor, but to provide for the common goods. I would disagree. Inheritance is a.
Cool.
I'm not a Marxist. I am just a nationalist.
Oh
I'm
man,
not
really?
like, oh, I hate the rich and I love the poor. Like, I don't love the poor or the rich. I don't really love anybody. I just love the nation as a whole, and everybody should serve the nation.
Whoa, careful, Nicholas. You're coming across as rather fashy right now. Just for your information, I have seen this video twice as of the time of this recording. This isn't 100% off the cuff. I've been thinking about how I'm going to respond to this for some time now.
Nation. So I don't want to beat the shit out of the rich so that we give the poor. The poor in a lot of cases are dumb. And not all poor people are dumb, but you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, you're not
A lot of people are poor
overgeneralizing.
because they just don't have the ability to rise up. That's not everybody. Some people are in a legitimately bad situation that's beyond their control, but a lot of people don't have a lot because
Wow, Nicholas was just kind of based right then. Kind of. I mean, he's probably gonna go way in the other direction pretty soon, but I'll give him credit there. He gets some credit.
they can't handle a lot. They don't, they're not extremely competent people. And that's okay. You should still have some quality of life, but I don't glamorize or idealize being poor as noble. There's nothing noble about being poor unless you're like a monk, right, or like Jesus Christ. There's nothing that's inherently good about having less stuff, in the same way that there's not necessarily anything good about having more stuff. I think that the rich should pay more to fund things for the public good for everybody. And it's not a class war.
Can you get to the next question now?
Inheritance is a legitimate form of wealth. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. It is. What does that mean, legitimate? Of course it's legitimate. I mean, you own it.
I'm kind of mixed on the inheritance thing. I mean, okay, the ultimate goal is to get rid of, class, money, and, but I think in the current economic context, I don't know, practically speaking, I guess it is legitimate as any other form of wealth, but that's not a good thing.
Basic utilities like roads and electricity should be publicly owned, yes.
I agree.
Government intervention is a threat to the economy. It can be, but not right now. Those with a greater ability to pay should receive better health care, yeah. Quality education is a right of all people. Is it? It's not really a right. The means of production...
Oh, what? Why do you want to keep people stupid, Nicholas? Everybody deserves an education. I mean, even you, or whatever education you missed out on, poor thing.
Production should belong to the workers who use them. Nope. United Nations should be abolished.
Oh, come on, Nicholas. Viva la revolution.
You know, I don't like the United Nations, but it does lubricate foreign affairs. You know, the United Nations may be seen as useless, but it provides a forum to minimize miscalculations when it comes to geopolitics, when it comes to, you know, the security dilemma. So I would say that while I don't love the UN and I don't love them telling us what to do, I don't love supranational organizations, you know, having a global body, this is just a contemporary expression of a global conference of world leaders, which I think is like, you should have something like that. You should have something like that. I hate the UN, don't get me wrong. I don't think what they do is useful. But insofar as the UN provides a global platform and a forum, I think that has some utility. Now, is the UN perfect at doing that? No. It does a lot of activities that are bad, and then it shouldn't be doing things like, you know, Agenda 21 and the IPCC and ICLEI. You know, there's a lot of bad stuff that they do, a lot of really pernicious things. But should it be abolished and replaced? Maybe. So I don't know. I guess the question's a little bit too general. Model UN coming out. Yeah, exactly. Maybe I'm partial because of Model UN. Model UN defense. It's true. Why are people getting muted? What are they doing that they're getting muted for?
Please move on, Nicholas. I'm bored.
See, there's a lot of bad stuff, but does it really affect us if we just ignore it? Not really.
Every night I burn. Every night I call.
Yeah, I disagree. I'm in favor of keeping the UN. Okay, soon.
Okay, yeah, I largely agree with him on that one as well.
Military action by our nation is often necessary to protect it. Yeah. Not often, but yeah, I mean, you need the military to protect your country.
Says not often, and then clicks strongly agree. What the fuck, Nicholas?
I support regional unions such as the European Union. No. It is important to maintain our national sovereignty, of course. A united world government would be beneficial to mankind. Disagree. That's satanic.
I also disagree.
It's more important to retain peace.
But satanic? That's your reason for disliking the idea of a world government? Because it's satanic? I mean, okay, first off, hell Satan. Second, okay, wouldn't God, the person who's like so like worship me, smite you, your entire existence is all about me, wouldn't I would think that he would be very pro world government as long as it was governed by Christianity. I assume you would also be the same way.
Relations than to further our strength. Uh, there's a balance as always. You have to enhance your strength, but there are times when disturbing the peace can disrupt you. Can
I feel
actually
like he's
come at the
trying to
expense of
justify
your
his
strength, right?
fascist sensibilities.
In other words, if America were to invade Canada, that would enhance our strength. But it would also make the world very upset with us. And that would jeopardize our security posture in a lot of ways. If our allies broke away, if our trading partners dried up, things like that. So there's definitely a balance. Now, is it more important to retain peaceful relations and to further our strength? Would we ever subordinate enhancing our strength to seeking peace? No. So I would say I strongly disagree. Wars do not need to be justified.
Come on. Why are you so pro-imperialist?
Other countries. In theory they don't, but in practice they do.
I do agree with that.
You could say, oh, I don't need to justify this. And I would say, yeah, you don't.
I actually don't like this question. Wars do not need to be justified to other countries. I mean, I'll just let Nicholas talk because his points are largely the same as my points, because I'm not pro invading other countries, but theoretically, if you have the power, why do you don't need to justify anything that you do. So yeah, this question's pretty stupid. I would click strongly disagree though on principle. Hopefully it doesn't spend too much time ranting.
You need a pretext. You don't need to justify yourself for a war. I'm not gonna, if I'm the president of America, I'm not gonna go to France and say, here's the case for why we're invading Iraq. I would invade Iraq. Well, I wouldn't have invaded Iraq, but if, let's say hypothetically, let's take a different example, because Iraq was not necessary. Let's talk about the
Okay, looks like my microphone cut out temporarily. Okay, I was going to give Nick Fuentes credit for voicing retroactive criticism towards the war in Iraq. I have to give him credit there. That was pretty much a genocide. Like an actual genocide.
Mexican-American War. Would I go to France and say, here's why we are invading Mexico. Is this persuasive? I would invade Mexico and say, well, here's why we did it. And it would have to be convincing because, you need to have other countries have confidence in you as a leader, and you need other countries to have confidence in your country from a diplomatic point of view. That you're not erratic, that you're not irrational, that you're not a threat in some way. You need to have a reasonable threat of force because you have a big military, but not an impending imminent threat because you're out of control. So I would say, if we're talking about like a vote at the UN, no, the UN and other countries don't have to greenlight us. So I would say, in practice, it's more complicated. Of course, you do need a pretext. But no, you don't need to go into it. Yeah, you don't need to go into a war with the blessing from another country. So I would agree.
I only agree with him as far as that question is stupid. Okay, I'm against imperialism, I'm against invasion, I'm against the war. He brought up the war in Iraq. That was definitely horrible by every metric. But this question, that question is that utterly, it has no bearing on anything. Now, just to say this once again, I would click strongly disagree on principle.
Military spending is a waste of money. Nope.
Okay, yeah. He says military spending is a waste of money. No. He said military spending is not a waste of money. I would disagree with that. America's military budget is utterly bloated. Like, they could use a fraction of that thing to provide free healthcare to all of its citizens, or maybe not that, but they could forgive every student loan debt in the country. So all the money that could serve its citizens is going to chauvinistic bullshit.
International aid is a waste of money. Yes. Not all of it, but a lot of it.
Now screw you.
My nation is great. Yes, it is.
No nations are great. No nations are good. Fuck the nation. Fuck every nation.
Research should be conducted on an international scale. No, we should have our own research.
Research should be conducted on an international scale. We should know what everyone is doing.
Governments should be accountable to the international community. Fuck the international community. That doesn't exist.
God damn it. Why? I mean, that's another question I have an issue with. I mean, why is that even a question? Okay, if I answered no, would that make sure that everybody, if I invade, if I'm America and I choose to invade Germany, I'm pretty sure other countries are gonna take issue with that. So yeah, those questions are really. That's one of the stupider questions. That's one of the stupider questions of the 8 values political compass test. I mean, in theory, I do think that government should be accountable to the international community. But in the context of an international community, that's kind of a given, isn't it? I mean, we don't. I mean, is this. This test doesn't exist in some kind of like fantasy land where you can just invade a country and to hell with the consequences. I don't know. I just kind of did bring up the war in Iraq, so yeah, where America basically just did a genocide and didn't really suffer for it. So yeah, still a stupid question anyway.
Even when protesting an authoritarian government, violence is not acceptable. Violence is never acceptable. The only way that you can ever do anything is non-violently through ahimsa and, I'm going to quietly disagree on that one. I disavow all violence.
I would strongly disagree. If an authoritarian government is like murdering people in the streets, you have a moral obligation to resist that government. Like, take it down. Take it all the way down. Go V for Vendetta on that government's ass.
In this country, because this is not North.
Go comic book V for Vendetta on that comic book's ass. Like, comic book V for Vendetta was way more brutal than film adaptation V for Vendetta.
Country, but if we were under a real tyranny by a government that was doing horrible things, like if the government was doing the Holocaust, you'd want to violently rise up against the Nazis. Well, we'll use that as the example. That's the kosher example. My religious values should be spread as much as possible. Yes.
Yeah, screw that.
They're correct. Our nation's values should be spread as much as possible. I mean, if our nation had good values, I would agree. So I'm going to say I'm not in favor of nation building or, neocon efforts to spread our culture, but it is good when our culture homogenizes the world, because that
sounded kind of fashy.
So I would slightly say I agree. We should want, if our values are Christianity and traditional and so on, we should want to. The problem is we have bad values. We advance values like gay marriage, abortion, and feminism. So, insofar as this in particular, I would disagree. But
very fashy.
Generally, about what is ideal, then I would say I agree.
And I would strongly disagree. I might take this test again later.
It is very important to maintain law and order, yeah.
Screw you.
The general populace makes poor decisions. Well, they can, yeah.
I agree.
Victimless crimes should not be crimes at all. There's no such thing.
Come on, legalize all the drugs. Come on. I think the test should also be a bit more elaborative on what a victimless crime is.
sacrifice of some civil liberties is necessary to protect us from acts of terrorism. Some civil liberties.
I strongly disagree.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yes, there's a point where that happens.
Sounds like something a fascist would say.
Government surveillance is necessary in the modern world. I mean, like, kinda. Not I don't love mass surveillance, but, I mean, yeah, like, kind of is. Now, am I okay with it? I don't like that that's the case, but I'm going to say, if anything, it's the opposite. The more the government surveils, the worse things are going to get. So I'm going to disagree. The very existence...
I would strongly disagree, but at least we're on the same kind of wavelength. And also, I have to give you credit for finishing this particular test faster than John Doyle did on the test that he was doing. I mean, he just rambled on and on and on, and holy shit, he just wouldn't shut up. I give you credit for going through it a lot faster.
Existence of the state is a threat to our liberty. Yeah, I'm not an ANCAP. Regardless of political opinions, it is important to side with your country always. All authority should be questioned.
Yes, it should.
Hierarchical state is best. Yeah.
Fuck you.
Generally. It is important that the government follows the majority opinion, even if it is wrong. No.
I think I would also hit strongly disagree. I mean, what exactly? I mean, wrong about what? That's another question I have a huge problem with.
The stronger the leadership, the better. Yes.
Like, that question as well, whose leadership, what leadership am I... To how much leadership? I mean, this particular quiz has some really stupid questions. I still think I disagree with Nicholas on these last few questions, but still, the questions that he's being asked are inherently kind of dumb.
Democracy is more than a decision-making process. Yeah, it's horrible. It is a lot. Democratizing is liberalizing. And liberalizing is a bad thing. So, I agree, but not like, it's more than that. It's great. It's more than that. It's terrible. Environmental regulations are essential. They are. A better world will come from automation, science, and technology. That remains to be seen. That remains to be seen. It could. You know what?
Okay, I don't know what was just happening with my computer over there. Okay, he said that. What did he just do? Okay. Yeah, democracy is more than a decision-making process. I would also strongly agree. He agreed with that, but what does that mean? Is that meant to be good or bad? I mean, I don't. Yeah, that's another question I don't get. But the next question, environmental regulations are essential. They are. I think he hit strongly agree. I would also hit strongly agree. And a better world will come through automation, science, and technology. I think I don't know, I guess if you know what, he's meant... I'm going to let him answer this question. So, take the floor, Nicholas.
What do you mean by better? Has it made the world more moral? No. Has it made the world more efficient? Yeah, I guess.
I don't think you can argue that it has made the world more efficient.
Well, let's think about where we have come from. I mean, well, this is I'm unsure about this. This remains to be seen. It's a complicated question. I don't want to get too much into this because this is a really complicated question about the nature of mankind, and it's kind of like it's really like an ontological question, actually, because the question is, you know, when you automate things away, some people see that as progress because it makes our lives easier, but is making our lives easier a good thing? You know, is living primitively, you know, the only way that we can live? Is that just the natural and predestined way to live? Or can we live in a higher state? Do we believe in evolution in that way? That we can...
Okay, he's just... That was really stupid, Nicholas. I mean, why should we have to live primitively if we have resources to make our lives easier? You are a self-described nationalist. Like hunter-gatherer. Okay, I think he actually clicks on the unsure option, so I'll just let him get to there. And Nicholas, you should probably just go with the. There's nothing wrong with clicking unsure.
Can evolve to a civilized man. You know, like a properly civilized. Is there going to be like a technological humanity? Is that going to be an improvement? I'm unsure about that, actually. Children should be educated in religious or traditional values. Yep, tradition.
To what end? To what end should they be educated in religious values? Should be like, here's what Christianity believes, presented just as a fact. Or should be like, here's what Christianity believes, and you better believe it too. I'm totally against that, and I would have clicked strongly disagree. Traditions are of no value on their own. I'd strongly agree with that. As Vic Sanchez said, well, scientifically, Jerry, traditions are an idiot thing.
Are of no value on their own. No, survivorship bias. Traditions, they persist throughout the ages, clearly because they might be doing something right. So I strongly disagree. Religion should play a role in government. Yep. Churches should be taxed the same way.
Well, you said that traditions are of value because they're traditions. What the hell does that... That's incredibly stupid. There was really... America had slavery. That was just the way it was. You probably could have called it a tradition back in the day. To say that could not... that's your argument, Nicholas. And did he just answer this one? Churches should be taxed the same way as other institutions? Yeah, they should be taxed. Whatever.
other institutions are taxed? No. Climate change is currently one of the greatest threats to our way of life? No. Not real. It is important that we work as a united world to combat climate.
Climate change is not real? Okay, science denier. I probably should have expected this from the, his video on the masks.
Climate change? Nope.
We absolutely have to work as a united world to combat climate change. I mean, all the science is there, Nicholas. To deny climate change is like denying gravity. Although there is footage of you denying the existence of the dinosaur, so I wouldn't put it past you to deny gravity. I mean, yeah, you are a Christian. I know that much about you. So it's like that clip from Family Guy where Lois is like, Mel Gibson just walked off the cliff, and Peter's like, of course he did. Christians don't believe in gravity. So I wouldn't be surprised if you start saying, I don't really see any evidence that gravity is a real thing.
Society was better many years ago than it is now. In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. But in the ways that matter, it was. It is.
Oh, come on, Nicholas. How can you say that when segregation existed in the past, and I guess segregation hasn't totally ended nowadays, but only people that miss the white supremacy of the past would answer, yes, things were better long ago.
It's important that we maintain the traditions of our past. Return to tradition.
No, fuck the past. Fuck our ancestors.
It is important that we think in the long term beyond our lifespans, yes. Yeah, beyond our...
I also strongly agree. You get a golf clap.
lifespans for this world and the next.
Oh, religion again.
More important than maintaining our culture. Disagree.
Sounds like another fashy answer.
Drug use should be legalized or decriminalized. Nope.
Nicholas, all the studies show that the best way to solve all the problems surrounding drugs is to just legalize and regulate them. That's what all the studies say. To deny to this point, like, even people that work in, like, the drug area of crime say, yeah, things would be better if we just legalized it. So how the hell could you say that?
Same-sex marriage should be legal. Disagree.
Well, I strongly disagree with you.
Did that say illegal or legal? Should be illegal. No cultures are superior to others. Disagree.
I do not strongly disagree with that statement. I mean, I do think some... okay, I feel like I have to tread carefully here because... Not because... I don't really know how to put this... Okay, I'll just say that I think that um okay if there are any if any cultures are superior to others, it's not because of like genetic or IQ differences. None of that. That's ridiculous. And you know that Nicholas thinks that IQ and genetics play a part in it.
Sex outside marriage is immoral. Agreed.
Whoopsie daisy. Not. I'm not bragging. Totally not bragging. But whoopsie daisy. Oh, Satan.
If we accept migrants at all, it is important that they assimilate into our culture. Yep.
What the hell should they? They have their own life. They have their own autonomy. They can. Like, what the hell does assimilation mean exactly? I mean, at the very least, if you're immigrating somewhere, you probably should learn the language. I also think that there should be like social programs so that it's easier for you to learn the language once you get there. But that's all I've got to say right now.
Abortion should be prohibited in most or all cases. Yeah.
No, I don't agree with him. If you want an abortion, have an abortion. You first time abortion, have a abortion. Late time abortion, have an abortion. Kill the kid. Do whatever you want. Your body, your choice.
Gun ownership should be prohibited for those without a valid reason. No.
I also strongly disagree, but for completely different reasons. I don't know why he supports gun ownership. I do support a mild gun control, though. Why not, Nicholas? Why don't you support universal healthcare? It's proven. It's all but proven to be a far better system. I mean, the rest of the developed world is laughing at you, Nicholas. I mean, Germany, Sweden, Australia, Japan, they're all laughing at America's shit healthcare system.
Prostitution should be illegal. Yeah, maintaining family.
Nope, disagree. Sure. Sex work is work. And also, prostitution has been legal far longer throughout history than it has been illegal. You could refer to it as a tradition.
Values is essential, yes. To chase.
What are family values? What a stupid question. That's a question that's meant to go, if you're left or right, if you agree with it, you're right. If you disagree with it, you're left. It's meant to make things easier. I'm kind of over analyzing now.
Progress at all costs is dangerous. Yes.
Like, what the hell does that even mean? That's another stupid question in this compass test.
Genetic modification is a force for good even on humans. Strongly disagree.
Yeah, I have no idea if that's... I have no idea how I feel about that. I mean, if a person's sick and they want to try experimental drugs, I guess they should have that option afforded to them. So,
We should open our borders to immigration. No.
Screw you, Nicholas. Open up the borders. Come on, come on, come all. Let's ruin every country.
Government should be as concerned about foreigners as they are about their own citizens. No!
I have, okay, what do I mean by foreigners? People... if they're within the government's borders, they should probably care about their well-being and welfare. But outside the borders, I guess not. That's another question that's kind of stupid.
These are the easy ones. All people, regardless of factors like culture or sexuality, should be treated equally. No. It is important that we further my group's goal. Well, what do you mean?
That's why I didn't interrupt him on that second last question, because he kind of elaborates on it.
You know, I'm going to treat somebody from a different culture with dignity and respect. And frankly, I would treat a lesbian or homosexual with dignity and respect, because I think people are just worthy of dignity and respect until they don't reciprocate. You know, the golden rule, right?
Except if they want rights to marriage or adoption, or to being able to publicly express their love. So you're totally insincere, Nicholas.
Golden rule says you treat everyone equally. Well, that's not what it says. It says you treat people how you want to be treated. And, you know, I will treat people with dignity and respect, irrespective of their choices or their culture. But as a society, we have to treat certain behaviors and cultures differently. Maybe the people, you can be nice to them, but you can't accept their practices. So I would say it's a slight disagreement.
Fascist, you're fascist.
It is important that we further my group's goals above all others. What is my group? Like white people or nationalists or Americans? Well, I'm a tribalist. I would say, broadly speaking, yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Drum roll.
Economic axis, centrist. So these are my results on the scale of equality to markets. 41% centrist, 59% markets. So I'm a centrist, but I'm slightly in favor of markets. On diplomacy, 92% nationalist, 7% world, so I'm a chauvinist. On the civil axis, yikes, I thought I'd be better on that.
What? How could you... Well, you really thought that you wouldn't score really high in the authoritarian mark? Hello? What the hell, Nicholas? There's no way you wouldn't have scored really bad in the authority mark. You're authoritarian to the fucking marrow. You have like no self-awareness.
85% authority, 14% liberty.
Wait, that's where it ends? That's where it ends? But we never saw what his ultimate score was. I mean, when we click on the political compass test, we want to see where the person ultimately ends up. So that's why before I started watching the video, watching the video this third time, I watched it a second time with the political compass test opened, and I was answering the questions as he answered them. And as you can see, the ultimate results are more or less exactly the same as his. I don't know, I guess they kind of changed the questions a little bit since he took the test, because the authority and liberty axes are slightly different, but largely the same. So I'm pretty sure you can trust me to provide the Nicholas Fuentes' ultimate political alignment, as according to the 8 values political compass test. And it is fascism. Yeah, I already knew that because I already knew that because I had already had everything set up, but yeah, no denying it now. Nicholas Fuentes is a fascist, according to the political compass, according to the 8 values political compass test. So, if you enjoyed this video, like, share, subscribe. If you disliked the video, awesome. Thanks for the downvote. Thanks for the hate comment. At least I'm not Nicholas Fuentes. Have a good day. Hopefully you outgrow Nick Fuentes' bullshit.